What is the most challenging thing when sound engineering live for Tori Amos?
Oh, I can think of a few things. So, but I guess the single most challenging thing is if you're in a situation whereby Tori isn't happy with the sound. You know, whereby she this was way more so in the early days when on live shows we used wedge monitors. So when you're using wedge monitors, then you hear a lot of the acoustic sound, and so depending on going from a venue to venue, all these venues have a different sound of their own, and sometimes just with the way the acoustics of the building work in combination with the sound of her piano and her voice being amplified within that room, there are certain problem frequencies, and these problem frequencies they arise from the acoustic properties of the building itself, and standing waves and what have you, and there's very little you can do about them. You can filter them out, but as soon as you filter them out, then sometimes you're filtering out frequencies that she's actually needs to listen to. So I've been in quite a few challenging situations with her, whereby it was hard to get her vocal EQ right during soundcheck, for instance, you know. And then now these problems they largely go away when the show happens in the evening. A lot more of the sound is absorbed, so usually it's easier to get the sound right for the show. But at the same time, when you do a sound check, you want to get it right, and you want Tori to get into a position where she's comfortable with the sound, so she can walk out onto that stage feeling confident, you know. So that was sometimes challenging, especially in the beginning years, to get her to a point, to get together to a point where she would feel comfortable, you know. So now those things have gone largely away now with the use of in-ear monitors, and but that doesn't mean that I'm still not challenged. The in-ear monitors come with a whole different set of problems. One of them is that ultimately you cannot really monitor what the person is listening to on stage. Like, for instance, what I mean by that, of course, I always monitor her mix. But ultimately, I don't know if she has made any changes to her level. Yeah, I don't fully hear the sound the same way that she does. I might well be listening to her mix, but she's actually hearing something different. So very often, when she performs, she gets, you know, humidity builds up in your ear canal, yeah, because of the extra heat. That fluid that might go into her in-ear monitors, whereby she'll hear frequencies in a different way. And these are, of course, things I cannot monitor as such, because that's not happening to me. So that is quite challenging for me too, because I have to imagine what she's hearing. I have to work out what the problem is. So that can be quite challenging. And then on a practical level, wireless systems can be practical too. One real challenging situation was once when she gave me the look, meaning, yeah, this was bad, you know. So she has never any time to give me signs. So I just look at her, and just from seeing her face, I work out pretty much what the problem is, whether it is EQ related or level related or just completely bad altogether, which is what this sign was. And I listened to her mix, so I knew the mix that she was getting was essentially correct, but she was not perceiving it that way. And it could only mean one thing, that basically the belt pack, Tori's belt pack, the receiver, was faulty, you know, which was indeed the case. So then what we found out is that if you wear these belt packs close to your body, and again, heat and humidity can build up, these packs actually they can fail altogether. They simply switch off, which is what had happened. But she was wearing her pack under her clothes. So during that show, I had to switch packs, find the pack where it was under her clothes as she is playing the song, and replace it with my pack. So that is pretty challenging to have to go out there on stage and do that, you know.
And what about her vast repertoire?
Yeah, so that is not challenging at all, because that is what keeps you going, you know. So she has towards the end of a tour, if it's a long tour, we will have a database of close to 100 songs, or I remember sometimes even a few more. And so nowadays, all these settings for these different songs, they get stored into a digital console. There's different snapshots. That's really changed our way of working, especially using in-ears. It has allowed us to have snapshots for every single song, and sometimes even for sections of songs, so that the exact EQ settings and the exact effect settings and the exact balances appear for those moments when they need to appear. You know. So I don't think the fast song thing is a challenge at all, because I can store all the snapshots. And at the same time, I think it's really enjoyable that she plays different tunes every night. So when you're on tour with her, you get to hear different songs every night, you know. So and you rehearse them. It's hard work, but that's why it's fun, you know.
So do you think that's changed the way you've approached it? That changed has obviously digital has made it a lot easier for you. Did you manage to do that in the analog domain as well?
Yeah, but it was
all those switches.
Yes, so we actually did. We used in the analog world we used the XL4, and we used all the automation on the XL4 like that. So we had different scenes and snapshots. But the difference was that you couldn't do quite as much. It would do balances, and you could automate the EQ on and off switches, for instance. But you couldn't actually automate the actual EQ frequency values and the amount of boost and cut. And that is something I can do with these digital consoles, which is really useful. For instance, in certain songs, Tori will, depending on what voice she's singing with and what register she's singing in, but depending on what song she's singing in, she might want a little EQ boost in the mid-range at a specific frequency range, and for another song that might be slightly lower frequency range or a slightly higher one, depending on the key that she's singing in. And that I can automate in from song to song. And that is very useful, because in the olden days, I would do it by hand. And it would sort of work. But also it is, for Tori, a great confidence knowing that I can go to the exact same snapshot as to what we did in the soundcheck. In the analog days, she knew I had to dial it in. And I was probably going to be somewhere close, but it's never as pinpoint exact. So I think she's loved digital desks, you know, because of that, you know, and I loved it because I was able to say with it, well, bang, that is what we did in the sound check. That is exactly what you hear now again. So that's good. About Tori, the thing about working with her is that it's just been the most amazing thing for me, because she's always pushed myself and the other people that work for her towards, you know, a certain level of a certain standard, production standard, which is really very high, which is great, because it's just made me the engineer that I am, and also the person that I am, really. The thing about her is that as she's writing her music and as she performs, she has a very clear idea of what she wants to sound like, and how she wants the music to come across. So that's, she's thinking about it and she's worried about it when she's performing. So for her, performance is not just the song and the singing, but also the audio is a big part of it. And so because of that, she had some really clear things that she needs, that she expects. And so for me to work out what they were, that was a big thing in understanding working with vocals. You know, I learned so much from that. I love working with her for that. She's always pushed me, and she's always, you know, pushed me in the right direction, sort of thing. You know, it's been amazing. And then also the fact that her music style, the scope of her music is so wide. You know, one day you might be working on a rock track, and the next thing it might be a piano vocal ballad or anything in between. You know, more jazzy recordings. And we've done it all, more electronic stuff. So it's just really allowed me to grow and experience. Another thing related to that is just the musicians that she plays with. Because of who she is, she plays with some of the best musicians out there. So to work with them and to understand them in terms of what they expect, what they imagine the sound to be like, and so that you work that out together. It's just been an amazing experience.